Hello, Vincent. It's such a delight to have you with us for a conversation with Media for Growth. Thank you so much for taking your time from a very busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rajiv.
Oh, Vincent, Asiaray is a very well-established business. You have a 3-decade journey. As I understand, you're there in 40 cities in Greater China and Singapore, and starting a business in 1993, if I've got that right. You have established footprints in diverse streams, from transit media to shopping malls and all of those areas. So if you can give us a sense of what was your business journey like, in the sense, what was the vision with which you pushed ahead with this business?
Well, we like all of us, we have a very humble start, and we start with just a company of myself, and we grew to the heydays about 1,000 people, and now we reduced by a couple of hundred, but it's still 700, 800 people in mainland China, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And this is, well, as you mentioned, it's a very long journey since 93. And there are some high points in this long journey. And if I may share with you some of the highlights. And as I mentioned earlier, I start with this company myself. And I was delighted to join venture with a listed company in the UK, Idris. You know Idris.
Yes.
And I formed PosterScope China and PosterScope Hong Kong.
Oh.
And so even the Chinese name was given by me, because we need a Chinese name for that. So I make up the Chinese name for that. And that is a very enriching and delightful experience. Enriching because I know how corporate management is like, right? To work with other MNC leaders, and how a big corporate could be run. So it's very enlightening and delightful. We work with a lot of talents all over the world. Another highlight is in 2015, when the company got listed in the main board of Hong Kong, of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And then following that, the space management that I advocated was listed by the Harvard Business Publish as a case study for the education. So, well, being a dropout of academics, this is a very delightful experience for me. It's quite an honor to be named by Harvard.
Absolutely marvelous.
So I'll explain to you some more about space management.
Yes. If you could just tell us about that space management, what is that approach?
Well, space management, well, actually, I do not have the name to start with. It's basically, you learn along the way, but it's basically an act of survival. Because we can't, even though we start in 1993, we are not an early mover. There are companies that are earlier than us. So, and we did not have a deep pocket. So we only can do some simple stuff. So because of that, so I've been thinking how to add value in our business. In actual fact, I think in outdoor advertising or out-of-home advertising, the business model is buy wholesale, sell retail.
Okay.
If I can explain a bit more, you basically get it wholesale price from the landlord, a chunk of media, may that be light box or billboards, and then you sublet them to different advertisers, right? So that's what I mean by it's a trading business. It's buy wholesale, sell retail, and there's very little added value that one can put in. And perhaps some people might ask that why can't you do the design of the ad?
Yes.
Right? And it's not possible. It's near impossible to do the design. Why is that? Because in more in more developed countries, in more developed advertisers, if we are going to do the advertisement, if we are going to do the design for them, they have to give us their marketing manual, including their positioning.
Right.
Right? And because in our business, we do not have this kind of stickiness. We can sell this board to Samsung, and we can sell another board to iPhone at the same time.
That's right.
So how can iPhone trust you with the design?
So
it's not possible.
Right. That's a very important point.
Right. So even the largest company in the world is still a trader, even though they try to position themselves as a professional, but in actual fact that they cannot be. Right? And all they can do is, they can get some big names, some big architect firm to do the metal work for them.
Yes.
So this metal work is designed by Norman Foster, for instance. Right?
Yes.
Or this billboard structure is designed by Sadid, for example. So, but still, it's just the structure. It's not the design. Right?
Absolutely.
So this is how it's done. And I think for trading business, it's very hard to add value. And then it's very difficult for a small company to do that, because you lose to the big players. Right? So I invented this new way of thinking called space management. Rather than pushing boxes, rather than flogging out billboards or light boxes, we become the manager of the space. So instead of just selling the billboard or light box, we can sell the space around the billboard, near the light box as well.
Okay.
Including the air. The air can be sold. The air can be sold. How? Because we pipe out coffee smell for KFC. When KFC first launched their coffee, I didn't know that KFC didn't sell coffee in the first place, but apparently they didn't. So when they first launched the coffee in KFC, then they put an ad and pipe out coffee. So for those who see in the KFC ad, or when they smell coffee, for the audience, when they smell coffee and they see KFC, they can immediately correlate. Right? And so this is how I mean by space management. This is how I mean by positioning ourselves as managers of space. And of course, there are more than that. And I kind of formalize it to make it a platform for creativity, right? Because we can always say, let's be creative, but how? What direction? How creative? These are the constraints. These are the difficulties. So we list out direction. Firstly, we are the only media that can tackle people's five senses.
Right.
Out of home is the only media that can tackle people's five senses. The near almighty mobile can only tackle audio and visual.
Correct.
And no more than that. Right? Whereas out of home, it tackles all five senses. Just now I mentioned aromatic, and then tasting, touching. Right? And of course, there are lots of things that you can do. There are lots of interactive things that you can do together with the audience.
Indeed.
Right? So tasting is easy. People might think, how can you do tasting? Free sampling is an easy thing to do.
That's right.
Right? Free sampling.
Yes.
People love that. But of course, we cannot do that in public transport. But there are other means that one can do that. So, but this is not something that a mobile ad can do. So that's one thing. Another thing is each space has its own characteristic.
Yes.
And we have to look at the characteristic of the space and then blend in with the advertisers. We have a sign that used to be run by a friendly operator, a friendly competitor, and it was selling very poorly. And when we talk over, this site is centrally located, but because the look of it is very odd shape. It's a T shape on the car park, and the Hong Kong government does not allow you to cover the whole car park for safety reasons.
Okay.
So we can only cover a T shape of the car park. So we look at it and think, car park. What is good for car park? The characteristic of this space, this funny T shape, is a car park. So we sell to cars. So we do a mock-up of a Mini Cooper flying out of a car park.
Okay.
And Mini Cooper likes it. So, but the design is not done by us. The design is done by Mini Cooper.
Right.
Just now I mentioned to you, we do not know what color tone they want to do. They want to do. We do not know what direction of the picture that one can put. We do not know what sort of font they use. We don't know what slogan they use.
Yes.
Or how they position the slogan and their companies. So all this we don't know, but we give them this idea as a manager of this space. So they take our idea and get their designer to do it. Right? And after selling to one car manufacturer, it's not possible to sell to another car flying out. So this becomes a real and fake car park. Right? If for the real and fake car park, Dr. Strange can turn around the car park. King Kong can smash up the car park. This sort of thing. Right? So this becomes a very sought after site. And people have expectation when they pass through here. Even though we do not always have this special design. But people, when they pass, they naturally look up to it to see if there's any amazement this time.
Marvelous.
Right, so this is a classic example I always use to describe the characteristic of the space. And actually another thing very simple to do, and people do ladder advertising. Ladder.
Okay. Ladder.
Escalator ladder.
Escalator
ladder.
Right.
And this is good for jobs hunting.
All right.
People want to move up. Right?
Yes.
Right? And in indoor sites, we always want to get away from the exit signs. But there are always a lot of exit signs. Right? And so make the light box a bit odd and sitting next to an exit sign. Again, this is perfect site for jobs hunting. Exit.
Right.
Right? So all they have to do is to blend in with the environment. And just now, aromatic advertising, apart from coffee, we do a lot of funny cases. Like one example, that they want to use soy sauce. They sell soy sauce, they want to put soy sauce smell on it.
Okay.
And I would imagine soy sauce smell wouldn't be too nice. But it turns out to be all right. Right. This sort of thing. And then this is another thing about EdTech. When we talk about EdTech nowadays, people only talk about programmatic.
Right.
big data, right? This is what people talk about,
Yes.
tech. And I think this is bad news for our operator. Because if our business model is just a salesman's job, and if the machine is armed with big data, they can do a much better selling job than a human,
Mm-hmm.
and much cheaper,
Right.
right? So in the end, we do not need so many practitioners in the industry, isn't it? Well,
Absolutely. Automation will take care of that.
we take care of that. But with space management, we can make ourselves a professional
Yes.
in this area,
That's right.
right? So that can make our business a bit more long-lasting, and make the career a bit more long-lasting.
Yes.
And to me, the AgTech is not just programmatic or big data. And even for that, Asiaray is the first, I think probably first in the world to link up with Google,
Okay.
on Google platform to advertise in outdoor. Well, I will only say perhaps, right? Because Google never confirmed, right? So the reason, but I have good reason to believe that, because it takes us about a year to link up with Google back in 2018, right? I think with modern day technology, you don't need a year to connect to anything,
That's right.
right? And I do not think Google is that bureaucratic. So from what I understand, this sort of linking can be a backdoor to their platform, or our linking looks like a hacker. So that's why they were very conservative. And since they didn't do it before, from that I believe that they didn't do it before. So that makes us the first, right? But this is what I believe, perhaps, right? And that's back in 2018. And subsequent to that, we also do a lot of landmark cases in programmatic using big data. And in actual fact, when people talk about programmatic or digital or online and offline, they would think only digital outdoor or digital out of home can be used. But in fact, even a traditional billboard can be employed as part of the O&O business case. We did one for a developer in Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
And what we do is we do a targeting for those who've seen our billboard. It's just a plain still billboard, right? For those who've seen our billboard, we assume those who are 50 meters or within 50 meters away from our billboard can see it.
Right.
And so for those who see our billboards, we will give them another online advertising.
Okay.
As a retargeting, right? And this turns out the click-through rate of this retargeting is substantially better than the retargeting click-through rate for traditional or normal online advertising.
Right.
So we did a couple of cases like this, and the figures were consistently better.
Right.
So this is something that we're doing. But in actual fact, for EdTech, it's not just outdoor and online or out of home and online. Because we are the only media that can tickle people's 5 senses.
That's right.
We employ a full range of technologies. In fact, a much wider range of technology than online, than TV, then of course more than print, by far. Right. So just now we mentioned about the aerobic. Yes, we need a machine to do that, and this is a humble machine, but still high tech. It's a small machine about this kind of size, operated by battery, and can cover an area of a few thousand square feet.
Okay.
Right, and the technology is simple. It pipes out the molecules. It pipes out. It's very fine. It's like PM 2.5.
Okay.
Those pollutants. It's like pollutants, right? It's not like those you find in the toilet. When it pipes out, it's very strong and then dies off. Right? We don't want that. Right? We want it to stay in the air, like the pollutants.
Yeah.
Like the PM 2.5 pollutants.
Right.
Right? So you have to pipe, the molecules have to be small enough to fly to be left in the air for people to smell. Right? So this is the technology that we use. And we also use a technology that will show you. It's actually a vapor machine. It forms some vapors for you to project your image onto it. So basically, you can see an image in the air.
Okay.
Right? So we employ lots of these technologies.
Vincent, I also want to ask you, in the transit media, you have got significant business footprints. So what is your viewpoint on transit media? Is it really the engine of OH growth?
I definitely think so. Because a lot of other media, like TV, is hardly hit by online business. But out of home, especially transit, I think will be less hit because as social beings, we all go away, we all go out.
Correct.
So naturally, we don't just walk around, we go by transit.
Yes.
Right? So this media will become very useful in targeting the right audience. And perhaps I would go as far as to say that we are probably the only mass media left. And our way of doing business is to work together with others, right? Rather than one wins all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is really a great spirit to have, very collaborative, and I think very, very focused. Vincent, I must say that it's been an amazing time for me to have this conversation with you and gain so much insights on not only on your business, but on the very interesting concept of space management that you explained so very well. Vincent, I look forward to many more opportunities to have interviews with you and conversations. But for today, really, really, my many, many thanks to you and to your team members, and we will meet again soon.
Yes, looking forward to that, Rajiv.